Bueno, pues vamos a iniciar la sesión. Yo me presento, soy Ignacio Maroto, Provost de Westfield Business School. Para mí es un placer dar la bienvenida a todas las personas que nos acompañan hoy. Nos acompañan muchos estudiantes de Westfield que vienen a escuchar este keynote. Tenemos también al grupo del curso de liderazgo en adversidad que nos acompañan también hoy y nos acompaña igualmente Carlos Castilla, que es director general de EIG. ¿Qué tal estás, Carlos?
Ignacio, muy bien. Muchas gracias por tu presentación y dar la bienvenida a todos los alumni y egresados de Westfield que acompañan y, por supuesto, a todos los alumnos del curso de liderazgo con los que hemos estado hace escasos minutos.
Muy bien.
Bienvenidos.
Muchas gracias. Voy a pasar al idioma inglés porque Stefan va a hacer nuestro ponente de hoy, Stefan Kermas, va a hacer la sesión en inglés. Todos disponéis de un icono de interpretación donde podéis, si no os encontráis cómodos con el inglés, podéis pasar a la interpretación, a la traducción en español. Y paso ya al inglés para saludar a Stefan. All right, Stefan, I'm going to switch to English now, so you can understand what we are saying. We were just greeting the people that are going to assist to attend your keynote, your speech. Let us all introduce you. We have with us Rafael de Cárdenas, Chief Academic Officer of Prisma, and Rafael is going to introduce Stefan and start the session. Hello, Rafa.
Hello. Thank you, Ignacio. Gracias, Carlos. Gracias, Ignacio. Hello, Stefan. And hello to you all. Hola a todo el mundo. Let me briefly make an introduction of Stefan Kermas. Actually, Stefan, first of all, thank you very much for being here. It's a pleasure and honor to have you with us. Briefly, but highlighting the most important aspects of Stefan, who, apart from being someone that is admired all around the world for his work as a trainer, that is both twice Olympic champion and also World Cup champion. Stefan is apart from those very kind of outstanding successes, in his career, he's a person that, when you get to know him closely, you understand the passion he feels for transformation, for creating teams, and for how to make them work in a very successful way and in a very organized way somehow. Stefan also is used to work in very challenging environments where adversity is a main component of it. So I think that his career, he started playing hockey at the age of 6, but he started coaching at the age of 12 years old. He's been training in the first division in Germany, and also, as said, with the German team, been 2 times Olympic champion, European champion twice as well, indoor World Cup winner twice as well, and club champion also twice. So, I think that I don't want to kind of get more time from the values, and the very precious time we're going to share with Stefan. But also, the last thing that I want to say, Stefan, is that everything that I learned and we continue learning about your career, it's greatly inspiring, and we are very happy to have you here. Thank you very much. The floor is yours, Stefan.
The floor is mine. I really like your kind of introducing, and it's quite good to put the standard really, really high. That's quite easy for me to have a nice evening with you. So thank you guys for this really lovely introduction, and hello all over the world from the night in Munich. At 7 o'clock in the evening, quite dark outside, raining the whole day, so not the best time for going out, but the best time for have some ideas and to share some ideas across the ocean about the topics leadership, about team building, about the question how to create teams who are able to be successful. It sounds quite easy, I know. At the end, it's quite difficult, but that's the topic I want to introduce you tonight, to give me some minutes to share, to talk to you. I'm a guy of two worlds, as I'm always saying. From the business world, I studied law in my first life and worked in business offices like agencies on a general manager level. But I'm also a big passion for coaching, for sports, for high performance sports. And that's the reason why my whole life, the last 20 years, I worked in both worlds, in the sports world and also the business world. And I really like that because a lot of things are quite similar between these two worlds. And a lot of things are quite individual. So, and tonight, I want you to give you some short impressions about things I think we can learn from the sports world, and we can take an eye on it and have a comparison to the business world. Although for sure other people are living in this one world and the other are quite successful in the sports world. I tried to share my screen because I've prepared a little journey for you tonight. It's this guy here. So hopefully it will work. And now it would be great to give you the full screen. That's great. Can you see a guy who's painting something on the wall? Can everybody see it? Thank you. Thank you, Rafa. So tonight it's about preparation. I'm a big fan of this world and word, because in all this business literature I'm reading about, it's always about planning. Everybody wants to explain that if you have a good planning, if you're a good planner, everything would be easy in a world full of surprises and a world full of things which are changing from day to day, like we can see, to be honest, in this Corona times outside during these days. So the question is, how is it possible to work in progress, to look to the future, although I know that I can't create the future for my own, but how to be ready for it. And that's the idea for tonight, that I give you some thoughts about the idea. And I think that it's all about preparation and it's not about planning. That's my idea for the next minutes. So this guy standing on the wall, it could be me, because I'm a big fan of these structured things and giving an idea coming from left to right, from today to tomorrow. So I'm a big fan of structuring things, although knowing that structuring is only part of the story. So creating plans and creating ideas, for sure, it is important to know where to go to and to have an idea what could be important. But I think it's much more about detailing. It's much more about a kind of mindset to be successful in this surprising world. So let's take a look to the idea of having a clear plan of something, like a match plan, and sometimes what's happening in real life instead of this. That's a typical German idea of a game preparation, of a hockey or football or a basketball match. On the left side, you can see some German words about the opponent. What do they have for strengths? What are their weaknesses? What is our idea to play against them? What do we want to do in the offense? What do we want to do in the defense? That's a typical idea of planning a match, of planning a game, and to be as good as possibly prepared. On the right side, you can put the names on and you can say, okay, in the first half, we play this tactic, in the second half, we play that tactic. Everything fine, is everything okay? I'm working in this manner as well. The problem is that in a lot of cases, in a lot of matches, in a lot of things going around outside, things are changing after 2 minutes. I can make the best match plan. I can take a lot of work into this kind of a match plan, looking videos for days, for hours, talking to my players weeks ahead. But after 2 minutes, there's an injury. After 2 minutes, one of my players is getting a red card and has to leave the field. So it's possible that after minutes, things are changing in a way that all I planned before, that all the ideas I created before, they are gone. They're absolutely gone. And so I know that this idea of having a match plan, having an idea of what would be the best way to be successful in my sports world or in the business world, for sure it gives a kind of security, a kind of structure, a kind of good feeling. That's quite important. but the real life is something else. That's a photo, I think 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago, there was a hockey tournament in India. And you see on this picture, you see guys in the black shirt and you can see guys in red shirts. And normally, a hockey team consists of 18 players. 18 players, 11 on the pitch, like in soccer, like in football, and 7 players who are able to come in, come out, interchanging. It's a name. You can put them every 3 to 4 minutes, you can put them in and out. So 18 players are building a team. On this picture, it was a picture after a match, there are only 11 players. What happened? During this tournament in quite nice India, 7 of my players are getting injured or they're getting sick. They were ill. So over the last 2 matches against India and Australia, 2 really, really good and strong teams in the world, I had to play with a staff much lower than normal. For sure, this kind of situation is not plannable. You can train, you can think, you can prepare yourself as good as you want, but things like that are not plannable. So the question is how to deal with situations which are not coming from my own side, which are coming by bad luck, which are coming from the opponent, which are coming from the environment, which are coming from political pressure. There are always things running around me. And so the real life is not a kind of a match plan. A match plan is only a first step and only a first idea of getting some information, of getting some security, of getting some ideas how to. But always be prepared that the real life works in another way, always in another way. So the question is how to deal with that. The question is, if there's something I can, in a first step, I can change in my mind, how to control this VUCA world around, this world of craziness, of things which are not plannable. And for myself, I have this picture in my mind of a ship crossing the ocean, and crossing the ocean always, or sometimes it takes days or weeks, and for sure the weather could be nice on the first 3 days, but on day 4 there's coming a thunderstorm. There are coming big waves about me. So the question is not how to control the world around me, because I can't control it. The question is how to control this boat. Who's a good captain to control this boat? Who's a good general manager to have an idea, who has an idea, what do I have to do if the world around there is going crazy? Who's a good coach who's prepared for stuff like that after 2 minutes, one of my players are getting a red card, or during a tournament, like we just saw before, I'm losing up to 7 players, but have to play on international top-level matches. That's the question. And that's the competence of a good manager, of a good leader, of a guy who's responsible for the players, of a guy who's responsible for the employees. So, long time ago, I had the thought in my head that I try to, if I have everything under control, everything will work like I want to do. No, when you're getting younger and when you're getting after leaving high school, getting into university, it's always okay. If I'm learning the right things, if I'm preparing as well as good, if I'm good in this and that, then everything will work as I want to do. But the real life is really it's much harder. And so I like this picture of what does a captain need, of a mindset, of a skill set, of a kind of serving leadership, a kind of being a good leader for the guys around him. What are the skills I have to develop? And I think that's a question we have to talk about. And if we know that the world around us is not directly changeable by ourselves, the question is, what do I can create around this world? And that's something from our national team over the last, it's a kind of idea framework, how to work in a world where I can't change the big things around me, but I have to concentrate, I have to focus on the things I can create. And there are 3 topics, I think, or we thought that there are 3 topics which are controllable for ourselves. And in the top of the triangle, it's always the question about structure, strategy, and tactics. What do we want to play? How do we want to attack? How do we want to get into counter-strikes? How do we want to defend? With a zonal defense, with a man-on-man defense? How do I want my employees to work together as a team? Who's responsible for that? Who's for that? How do we react if a client is asking for that? So always take a focus, always take time to focus on the little small things on the structure and strategy side, which you can control. Although you know that the big waves outside are coming from another idea. On the left downside, I call it principles, not rules. It's a big advantage to think in principles because you can't create rules for all the thousands of ideas and situations which are coming across in national team sports or in the business world. So your employees, they have to make decisions. We have to make decisions each and every 3 seconds, I think. So I can't create rules for any other situation because at the end I have 2,500,000 rules. Nobody can remember about that. But we can remember about principles. How do we want to react in this special situation? What's our idea after getting the ball in defense? How do we want to get into a counterattack? These are principles. And the big advantage of principles is that they are usable for different situations. And that the guys who are involved in the situation have to make a decision. Are we taking the counterattack or do we have to keep the ball for sure and try to build up? And that's something that's quite usable in the business world as well. How to deal with our clients, how to deal with the market around us, how to deal with questions coming into the company. I don't have a solution for all these 2 million questions, but if I have a clear strategy, if I have a clear idea where I want to go as a company, I know the answers. Because if the strategy is clear, if the idea is clear, how do we want to attack? The players, the employees, can make a decision in this situation. And that's the triangle, in the middle of the triangle at the end. As a coach, for me, it's quite important that there is a responsibility for the players because they have to make decisions on the field. And in my companies I'm working, it's important that my employees have a clear responsibility for the things they have to do. Because I don't want to go around and tell them every second what they have to do. They have to do it for their own. So in my eyes, an agile, a well-structured leadership, a well-structured team is quite comparable, quite comparable between the sports world and the business world. And the third thing on the right downside, it's about these management skills. It's about how do we react in that situation? What's our plan A? And if we don't get the client, what's our plan B? And if this tactic doesn't work, what's our plan C? That's this management from situation to situation. So from down to the top, or from top to the down, do we have a clear idea of where do we want to go? That's important for the principals on the left side because they have to react. They have to be in the same direction as the strategy and the structure above. And these little things I can always do as a manager. Yeah, I can talk to my employees. I can make this decision. I can talk to another client. So talking about these 3 topics over and over again gives us an idea. Okay, there is something I can create. There is something I can control. Although the big waves around the ship are shaking a little bit and giving me some crazy ideas each and every day. So I think it's a good framework to don't lose hope and to see, okay, what's inside my responsibility and what is outside of my responsibility. And the big, and for me, really important sentence is the idea of control only the controllables. So take a deeper look and take your time to look into your company, to look into your team, to look into your sports team, and always look for the things you can control. And don't put a shit on time on all these other stuff you can't control. It's a really good lesson for life in general, I think, because there are a lot of things it's easy to complain about. It's quite easy. I could complain the whole day about things around me, but the question is, does it help? I think it doesn't help. So look for the things you can control. I think there's a lot of business ideas, there's a lot of lectures, there's a lot of books about winning, about success, about how to be successful, how to create a better world. And with these 11 ideas of skill set, you'll be successful. Yes, for sure. I think there are skill sets which raise the idea or which raise the idea of being successful. But at the end, we have to train it. We have to train the small things. We have to train the important things which make the difference at the end. And that's something for the sports world, it's quite normal. For sure, I know, because they don't have important matches each and every day. Perhaps as a first division soccer team, they have important matches from Saturday to Wednesday Champions League to Saturday to Wednesday. So they only have to prepare for the next 4 days. But I think in a business world, in a company world, they also don't have these high impact days, these high impact pitch meetings each and every day. There are also things I can prepare for. And that's something, in my eyes, and from my look to the business world, it's something sometimes we forget. We forget to train. We forget to focus on the things which make a difference at the end. And that's something I learned from the great and old Stephen Covey, with the end in mind. Only if I know what's my idea of being successful at the end, I can take a deeper look and I can take time into the things which will make the difference. So I have to look for habits. I have to look for habits which are important for the result at the end, which can make a difference, and I can control. And I think there are a lot of things, and I just wrote down 3 of them, but I think these are things I can train each and every day in my team, in my sports team, in my friendship zone, and also in my business zone. Yeah? Things like, how do we want to start our meetings? How do we want to talk to each other? Is a general manager coming to the office with looking down to the floor and not being able to say hello? Or is there a kind of, hey, we are supporting each other? Yeah, we are asking each other, how are you today? So I think there are manners I can control. It's the idea of a culture. Which kind of culture I want to create inside my company as a leader. And as you know, the culture is always a result of leadership. Always. It's a shadow of leading. Culture is a shadow of leading. So only if I'm, as a general manager, as a leader, I act like I want to, and I act like I think it's a good way for my team, for my business team, then I can expect that somebody is following me, and not the other way around. And the third point, how do we want to collaborate? How do we want to work together? In which kind of formation, in which kind of putting the people on the best position for the team, for the company? And these are things I can control each and every day, if it's important. And if I think it's important, I have to take my eyes on it, and I have to control it, because these are the things I can put my impact on. Yeah. It's about the relationship between leader, the general manager, and the player, for example. So it's about, do we need regular meetings, or is it important that we only have a chat 1 time a year? No, we could also talk all the 2 weeks, to give an idea about, am I happy about your work or not? So it's not about having plans for each and everything. It's about, how do we want to work together? And for sure, I can ask, or I can give my idea to my employee, to my player. I think you have to develop in these and that things. It's a typical German idea that the company is talking to the employee and giving him or her a plan. I think you are good in that, and now we try to develop you into this and that direction. In a sports world, it works the other way around. As a good coach, I go to my player and asking them, okay, what kind of role do you want to get in my team? What's your aim to get into the team? On which position do you want to be the best? And what can I do as a coach, as a trainer, to help you to get inside the team? So it's not always a question in my eyes that the CEO or that the general manager is talking to the employees, okay, I think you are good in that, and here's the plan, for your personal development. It could be the other way around. And there are a lot of studies about all these feedback culture. We could have another evening about that. Yeah, and it's clear that all these thinking back and all these criticizing back, it doesn't help. People are not open for that. They want to know, what do I have to do better? They want to know what of my behavior was a good one because of these and that results, and how can I develop to get a little bit better in the future? Not looking back. I can't change the past, but I can a little bit change the future if I have an idea how I want to act in the future. So at the end, I think, or at the most important thing I learned from my coaching career is, I don't want to tell the players what they're doing the whole time. The idea is that they want to go into the same direction with a high impact of intrinsic motivation. And it is my job as a coach to create an environment where they can be intrinsic motivated. And all these things before, this kind of behavior, this kind of communication, this kind of what do I see in your potential, all these things are creating a culture where somebody is getting more and more intrinsic motivated, or he's demotivated. And I can't create motivation for other people. It's not my idea. I can't run around as a coach each and every morning and to sing and to share and to be as good as I can just that my players are motivated. No, they have to be there for their own. But I can create this kind of environment. So I think there are things I can have an impact on each and every day, like these habit things during or across the whole team, and these things of how do I want to create a culture of working together. These are things I have to train. These are things I can control each and every day. And that's a really good moment to think about, is there a kind of a mindset framework in which I'm allowed as a leader, as a general manager, as a trainer, to interact with my players. And for me, this really, really easy sounding idea helped me a lot over the last few years, always to think in the me area, what can I do? What am I responsible for? What do I stand for? In the second way, this perspective of you. So how do I act with you? What do I see in you? I'm just coming to this a few seconds later. And at the end, for sure, how can I create a culture of we, not a culture of me or I? And that's something really interesting, looking to the companies around you, talking to other people. Are there people from the me, from the I perspective? I think, and I should have, and I'm not happy with, or do they talk in a we language? Are they talking in something like, we have to think about, we are not good, we have a really good idea, we didn't make a good job. Yeah, is it about me or is it about we? And I think a successful team is more and more talking in the we area and not in the ego, in the I area. So let's talk and take a look to the first area, to the me area. I think it's important that as a leader, as a guy who is responsible for creating a team, a high performance team, which is strong enough to fight against all these crazy waves around me, to know yourself, to know exactly where am I good at and where I'm not good at, and what kind of people, what kind of leader do I want to be? Yeah, and for sure, the guy above, it's a German football coach, Jürgen Klopp, working for Liverpool since 4 or 5 years. Actually, I think he could be voted as the king of the world, because every manager and every company and every sports guy is loving Jürgen Klopp, because obviously he's making everything great. He's funny, he's good looking, he's smiling, he's successful. Yeah, he's a kind of creating best of the people, of the player. Everybody is loving Jürgen Klopp. He could be the next German Chancellor if he would be voted. So, but it doesn't make sense to be as Jürgen Klopp, because Jürgen Klopp is Jürgen Klopp, but Jürgen Klopp knows how to use his individual strengths. And that's the most important thing. What are my strengths as a leader? As are my strengths in working with other people? Do I know that? Or only do I think that? Or on the picture on the floor, am I acting as a shepherd dog? So do I want to get a feeling of security, of control. It's not about good or bad. It's about honesty. It's about who I am. It's about, do I know why do people follow me? And I talked to Rafa some weeks ago, and I told him as well, I think that leadership is not a thing I can learn. Leadership is a thing other people are deciding if they want to follow me as a leader. Leadership is something other people make a decision to follow him or her. And for sure, there are skills which could be important for that. But at the end, a leader is chosen by others. And not Jürgen Klopp is saying, I'm a good leader because, no, their players are following him because they think that Jürgen Klopp is a good leader. And that's something really important from my point of view, that I have to think, I have to reflect myself the whole time. Am I only talking, or is somebody following me? Are they interested in my opinion, and are we able to work together? Or is it just a monologue, like in these minutes? I'm talking to other people and no one is looking to me and there's no interaction. That's quite important. Yeah? And always, please always answer the question, what's the reason why I'm here? What do I want to achieve? What's my job with this team? And hopefully it's not because someone else told me, go to this team and make a kind of leader and make a kind of control and make a kind of, no. What's my personal reason to be here? Just as an idea, these three simple questions, always reflect yourself and give a clear and honest answer about this stuff. So looking to the you area, yeah, it's not only important to know who am I, it's always important to be able to work together with other people as a leader, as a coach. And the first thing we have to learn is that other people around me, by luck, and it's quite important, they don't think the same way like me. They think in another way. They see the world through another kind of glasses. Like in this funny small German picture. Yeah? For the left guy, he's seeing these 4 bars laying around, and for the other guy, it's only 3. And that's quite normal. It's quite normal. Everybody has often another opinion about things because he's looking through another mindset glasses to the world as myself and her, he, and like Rafa. And it's quite normal. And I have to know that. I have to understand it. And I don't have to complain about my employees, about my players, if they don't think and if they don't react in the same way I would to do. It's normal that they're reacting in another way. And in this minute, in this second where I have to understand and I have to accept this, life is much easier. So the big question is, what's my attitude about people? What do I see? What do I see in other people? Am I a coach who knows everything better and just putting people around on the floor and putting people around on my match plan sheet, or do I want to work with them? Am I interested in their development? Do I take my time to talk to them? And people feel that. People have a good feeling if there's somebody who's only managing things, or is there somebody who's really interested in a common success. And that's, again, the difference between a leader and, I think, a manager. A manager is really good in putting the right steps in the right time. A good leader has something more. He has fellowship by other people. So I think, sorry, a little bit too quick. I think it's a lot, and most important, one of the most important skills is clarity. Clarity in my communication, to have an honest communication, to have a clear idea, what do I want from my players? If they don't understand me, they do something else. So always control your clarity in communication. It's one of the most important things to have a chance to go into the same direction. Yeah, and it takes time, for sure, it takes time. It needs a kind of a personal relationship. I don't have to invite them to my marriage. I don't have to be best friends with all the people around me. It's not the question. But I have to find a personal idea, a personal relationship to the guys around me. If I want them to follow me, if I want them to trust me. It's the same with trust. I can't say, okay, come on guys, trust in me. I'm a good guy. No. Other people are deciding if they trust in me. I can't decide it. They have to decide. But I think I need a kind of personal relationship to have a chance that they build some trust into my idea. And another learning from my point, players want to be challenged. Yeah? They always want to have an idea. They always want to have a challenge quite to the next level of their ability. And it's the same with employees. Not everybody, but in a really high percentage. Yeah, and this idea of bored out, it's quite a big important. It's quite an important fact also in Germany. But I think to find always the good level or the best level of how can I give him or her the chance to make the next step, to challenge them always on the limit they're just able to deliver. That's the idea of this you area, of this, how do I want together with you, and what do I see in you, and how do I think, what can I do what can I make as a good job to give you the best possibility to be successful in this team. And now we're talking about teams. And because at the end of the story, if I'm clear with myself, number one, and I know how to interact with you, number two, at the end of the story, it's about creating a team. It's about team building. But without these steps, number 1 and 2, it won't work. And at the end of the story, we should always control and always analyze. Do we talking just about a crowd of people, about a group of people, or do we really talk about a really and strong team? And the crowd guys, they are working, they don't have an entire interest. Perhaps they have the same reason to do the same thing, but at the end, there's no energy between them. The group, for sure, a group always wants to go in the same direction of their holidays, and perhaps they are a group member of a project, but there's also missing an idea of strong energy, and for sure, or especially, this kind of responsibility. And because only in a team, only in a kind of a high performance team, there is a clear idea of commitment, and there's a clear idea of roles and responsibility. Who am I responsible for? And who are my teammates responsible for? And this high performance team could be the team entering the ship, the boat, across the big waves like 20 minutes before. Only a high performance team is able to stay together as a team, although the world around them is making crazy and shitty things. And you can feel that. You can feel that, you can see that if the team stays together, because they have a strong impact on the idea where they want to go. They have a clear responsibility. They have a clear idea of trusting each other and not controlling each other every day. And they are flexible. They are flexible in reacting on surprises which are coming up. And so please take control about the team around you. Are we on the way to be a real good team? Or is it just, well, also okay? Or are we just kind of a group? And as you can see on the time scale, on the floor of this picture, it takes time. Never forget that building a team, creating a really, really strong team of high performance habits, it takes time. It will never go from week 1 to week 3. So take a deeper look into the team idea. I really love this movie. I don't know if you know it. It's some years ago, going across the cinemas around the world. It's the Ocean story of, I don't know his first name, Mike Ocean, I don't know, Thomas Ocean, Mike, I don't know. And this team of Oceans 11, 12, 13, and 140. And it's a group of gangsters. It's a group of gangsters who want to get a robbery from the casino world of Andy Garcia and to make money. It's a quite nice film. And I love this film because this kind of team, in my eyes, is something like a high performance team. What is he talking about? They don't work in the same company and they're not a sports team. Yes, but all the skills I just talked about are inside that team. They have a clear idea where they want to go because they want to get 150 million of Andy Garcia's casino store. They have different skills and abilities inside the team. One guy is a look-looking charming who is running around, who's creating big ideas. The other one is a technical guy. The other one it's a thinker guy who has really high IQ to find another solution. They have this small guy who's changing his clothes every 5 minutes to get into the next door and the segment. So they have different skills combining together, because a high performance team always consists of different topics, of different types of people. Robert Lewandowski is just a really successful German football player around the Champions League, but no team would be successful with 11 Robert Lewandowskis on the pitch and not 11 Messis and Cristiano Ronaldos. It's always a question how to put the abilities together we need, with the end in mind, for our success at the end. They have a plan A because they have a clear idea how to get the money, but like in every Hollywood movie, plan A never works, never. It's clear that they have a plan B or a plan C. And for sure they have a plan B and plan C. At the end, like in Hollywood always, they get the money. But on their way, they have to face a lot of storms, a lot of big waves around them. But they're quite flexible. They are staying together. They are discussing. They're angry about each other. But the idea of how to be successful at the end is their big strength. And so please, if you have the time and if you have the idea to look at this movie again on the next popcorn home cinema night, look to this team always from perspective of how do they work together. I think it's quite interesting. And another principle they are using is a principle, make your job and be flexible. And now we are coming back to the hockey topic 25 minutes or 30 minutes ago, where I told you that I only had 11 players in the next in the last 2 matches. What did we have to do? This is Mark Apel wearing a shirt with his number 1. Number 1 in German sports always is the number of the goalkeeper. So we had to put our second goalkeeper, Mark, on the pitch. He has to play as a striker. He never did that before. He don't know how to get the stick in his hands. But we had to find a solution. We had to be flexible, although we didn't plan that, and although Mark doesn't prepare for that. But we had to find a solution, and we put them on a striker. And like in all these great stories running around, Mark Apel scored a goal in this match. It's unbelievable. He scored a goal against Indian international players. And after this game, during night, he get 3,000 new Instagram followers. I only have 400. Okay, I didn't have one only noticed on Instagram, but he did get 3,000 new followers just because of this goal he made in an international match. So it's a nice story, but what do I want to say? It's always about finding new ideas and be flexible in your mind, because things are coming in another way, like as I planned before. In the same tournament, I heard from the Belgium head coach that starting several weeks before, he has weekly meetings with his team just about the question, what if? What if? What if we are losing 3 players in the tournament? What if my best player is breaking his leg in the 4th game? What if we are with 3 goals behind after X minutes? And it's not about being prepared for these several and specific situations. It's about creating a mindset with the team that things can change faster as we think it could, and that we are not getting into panic, that we have clear ideas, that we have clear steps of creating new ideas if the world doesn't move the way I want the world to move. And I think it has to do with the kind of a mindset I think it has to do with the question, okay, I can't control all this Corona stuff around me, but I'm sure I can find things I can control each and every day. And I try my best to put all my impact into these things. And Mark Apel, he scored this goal for sure. He scored a goal in a situation he has never been before. The question is why? I think because he feels a kind of a security. He feels a kind of a trust. And that's something we could learn from Google in this really, really important and famous study, I think 2 years ago, that if I want to have employees who are able to find the best decision, who are able to have a high impact on my companies, if I want to work with players who are strong enough and confident enough to find solutions in critical situations, I have to give them an idea of safety. I have to give them a feeling of trust, although I know that the dog decides to trust the girl in red, but I think it has to do something with, do I give an impact to my players and do they have an area where they can act? Or do I always come around them as a coach and always telling them that was shitty and that was wrong and that was not the right way? I think that doesn't work. And this Google study says really, really clear that it's an idea of psychological safety, that if employees in a company feel this idea of, okay, although it's possible that I can make a fault, it doesn't have a direct impact on my relationship to my manager or to the company in general. And I think this idea of getting an idea of trust, a feeling of trust, is quite important. This is Kevin Prince Boateng, a German football guy. He played, I think, for 15 clubs around Europe. He's a really strong guy, as you can see. He has tattoos all over his body. So I think he looks like a confident guy. He looks like a really strong, confident guy. I don't want to meet by night alone in the next city. What is he saying about? He's talking about the feeling of trust is quite important for me. And in this interview, he talks about his coach and about his coaches in his career. So on the one hand, we say, what, such a strong, such a self-confident guy playing for 15 clubs around Europe, having 20 million on his bank account. Yeah, but he's talking about trust. So also a guy who's looking quite confident, also a guy who knows exactly what he has to do. He needs a kind of idea of trust, of feeling of security from his manager. And I really like these quotes, I really like these interviews, because it gives us a deeper look into what's really important, and not always these shiny, happy people living world and everybody's successful. No, it's about the small details to be successful at the end. And it's obviously, I have to understand what kind of my players do this feeling of trust. For sure, not everybody needs it. Not everybody wants to talk with me each and every day, but I have to get a feeling who needs this time for myself. And so I'm nearly finished and giving you an idea of the difference between planning and preparation and about what do I have to train at the end. For me, it's really important because I don't only like this picture, but for me, it's quite important to give you the last famous word, that working with people, it's not only about being successful, for sure. It's not always about being in a quite important position, for sure. It's about letting them grow. And that's one of my big skills I learned from my coaches I'm looking above, that they always gave their players an idea to make them better, to have a real interest of impact, that it's not about me, it's about we. But if we want to be more successful as a team, I have to invest into you. And all the teams around the world I'm knowing or I'm reading about, they have this feeling. And it's not always about being fair and being quite army and being like Jürgen Klopp. That's not the point. It's not it doesn't have to be an area of welcome and free bananas and always happy, shiny people. That's not the point. It's about, is there somebody who is interesting in me? Is there somebody who has the interest to make me better, to give me all the impact, the confidence, the impact, the skills that I can grow? And I think people work for other people. And if you want to create, or if you still have a successful company, a team around you, give the people the idea that you work for them. And I'm quite sure they will work for you, because people don't work for companies, they work for other people and teams. And that's my little journey around the world of preparing, of being a leader who's able to prepare because there's a clear idea of being successful, but also being flexible at the end, because we can't control what's happening around, but we always can control our next step. Thank you very much from my side. in this situation.
Thank you, Stefan. Well, truly inspiring, and I think you raised many points that are very important. Surely, when creating a team, right? And you described, the transition from crowd to group to team. There's been, a few questions, and I don't know we have much time, but at least I want to get one of the questions that we got from the participants. I'll get this one from Javier Lorente. Javier asks, when thinking about a leader, he sees that there's many people, many executives and leaders that are very successful by being kind of distant from the field, right? As opposed to other leaders, other successful people that are way more like on the field, right? Like getting dirty with, whatever is happening down there, right? And so Javier asks if, according to your point of view, if it's better to be that type of leader that is more distant, or that leader that is more like shoulder to shoulder with the team working down in the field. What do you think?
There is no clear answer if this or that is the right way. It depends on two important topics from my point of view. At the first, as I said, in this I area, what kind of executive I want to be and where am I good at? Not everybody can act like Jürgen Klopp. Not everybody can put his arms or her arms around other people, because there's not this feeling coming up. There's not this feeling of trust and short distance coming up. So it's not a question of what's a better way. It's a question about where do I come from? What is my idea? And for sure, what does my team need? What does the people around me, what do I think they need? And for sure, I think that a younger team, that a team which is not that experienced, for sure, they need a little bit more, Stefan coming to them, a little bit more of helping, of serving, of putting my arms around them. But a quite experienced team, which is working in the market for 25, 30 years, they don't want to have to put my arms around them each and every day, because they know what they do and they have the experience of working together. So take a deeper look, in my eyes, take a deeper look to these two questions. What do I stand for? What are my talents? And also, what is my kind of leading a company? That's also quite important. And you will always get the feedback from the team. If it's too much distance, or if it's too nearby. And there is no clear answer, honest. And I would give you a clear idea, but it always depends on the team and the situation.
Thank you very much, Stefan. I capture here the comment, in the chat, people saying thank you. People really being very grateful for your ideas and your inspiration. I see here also saying thank you. I like very much the idea of leadership that is more an act of, building trust and creating that trust around you than the traditional old approach to leadership. So I want to be mindful with your time and the time of everyone in this session. We are there. We are right on top. Stefan, thank you very much. To all of you here, thank you very much. Stefan, it's been an honor to have you here and a true pleasure. Thanks for your insights. Thanks for your sharing with us your experience. Very successful, by the way. And I think we all learned today many things around building teams. Well, to all of you, thank you for being here as well. And we continue in touch. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, and have a nice day, and wonderful wishes across the ocean again. And thank you for being part of your lesson today. And yeah, hopefully and perhaps we'll see again each other, and all the best for you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you. Thank you very much, Stefan.